In fact, when I saw the video was first forwarded to me, I couldn't finish watching once I established the basic things I needed to know to, push me into acting. The first thing was to locate the woman. The next thing was to find out how we could keep the victim safe. So we're working, behind the scenes. And some of these things, the ministry will be slow in coming up because you don't want to give too much lead to a perpetrator to know that they are coming after me, so I have to run. We shame them. We shame the victims when we are supposed to be shaming the perpetrators. In this case, you had people defending the perpetrator.
Exactly.
And the informant who supported for the rescue of the victim is rather being victimized
by the family of the
by the
perpetrator.
family. If you could clearly remember when it happened, His Excellency was at a program. He left everything, he cut everything short just to come and attend to them.
The whole of Ghana was taken aback when 6 ladies died as a result of trying to get into the military.
The first thing we did was to ascertain how they were doing. Emotionally, at that time, they weren't doing too well. And so, as a ministry, we were focused on their mental health and then emotional stability. And so, to support them with some psychosocial therapy.
Hello, you're welcome to GhPage TV, and I'm delighted today to be seated with the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, as none other than Dr. Agnes Namu-Molate, Honorable. Honorable, you're welcome to GhPage TV.
Thank you very much. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to sit with you this afternoon. Let's quickly zoom into the conversation. First of all, last week, the whole of Ghana was taken aback when 6 ladies died as a result of trying to get into the military. Your swift response as a ministry has generated a lot of praises. What brought about that swift response?
Thank you very much. Let me use the opportunity to once again express deepest condolences to the bereaved families, and then also extend our prayers to those injured ones who are recovering. Our prayers are with you all. We want you to know that as a government, as a people, we stand together in strength so that this that happened, we pick the lessons from them and from it, and it doesn't happen again. You can only follow the footsteps or dictates of your leader. If you could clearly remember when it happened, His Excellency was at a program. He left everything, he cut everything short just to come and attend to them. And so after he had attended to them, there was the need to do a follow-up to see to the injured, how they were doing or faring the next day. Because if somebody was in ICU, you are, holding your breath to see what happens next. And as much as we were praying, we also wanted to be sure physically that they were doing okay and on their way to recovery. And because of that, His Excellency mandated us as a ministry for me to go and check on them. And that is what every good father would do. And so I checked on them and then followed up to see to the bereaved families how they were faring. And by the grace of God, it wasn't easy, especially with the bereaved families. But I thank God that they find strength to keep going. And so we are in touch with them to ensure that the incident doesn't leave them more vulnerable than it's necessary. And so we'll support them. Like His Excellency promised, the entire nation is with them. And so throughout the mourning period, the healing period, we are going to be with them and stick to them till we realize that they are good enough to make progress.
Okay. Honorable, this is a further testament to the fact that the female gender is very, very fragile because we happen to have lost only females in this stampede. And then your swift response as you explained early on. But then beyond the cameras, beyond the visit and all of that, is there a special package for the family? Even beyond what the military has announced that family members of this deceased fellows will be recruited into the military. How are we going to ensure your outfits, especially that all the family members going to replace these folks will be females?
Thank you. If you noticed, the first thing we did was to ascertain how they were doing. Emotionally, at that time, they weren't doing too well. And so, as a ministry, we were focused on their mental health and then emotional stability. And so, to support them with some psychosocial therapy, their psychological state of being is also very important, because when there's so much emotions expressed, you realize that people become very weak and they lose hope.
Exactly.
And so letting them, the external things we introduce is for them to find their inner strength to keep living. And so that is what the ministry is going to do. We are putting a form of a schedule together, being in touch with them. There were basic things that they needed to do immediately. Most of them at the time we visited hadn't seen the bodies of their loved ones. And so we wanted to give them that space to, come to terms with it. And then we'll go back to them and visit them with the needed counseling or psychological support. That is one of the key things that we needed to do for them. His Excellency had already put in some measures to ensure that there will be a replacement. These replacements, right on the spot, I can tell you that we didn't want to leave it to any extended families, because most of them had their mothers to stand with them. Some had both parents. But I can tell you that for the 2 people that were brought in our presence, was it 2 or 3 people, they were all females. And we are hoping that the next ones will also be females. The first batch we visited in Greater Accra, on day 1 of our visit, we realized that we couldn't talk much about it because we needed to, have a cursory visit and then come up with what our findings were and then make some suggestions and recommendations to His Excellency, who would then beef it up with some authority on what the next step should be. And so we started liaising, but we left contact persons everywhere we went. We worked with the structures that are in the district level or the decentralized level. So the MCs were involved in what we did. And then we also worked in some cases with NADMO officials. So it's something that we hope the efforts we put in will be sustained until we realize that they are good enough to be on their own. Because at the district level, you have the social welfare workers, and they are supposed to also support with some of these psychosocial therapy.
NK Shipping and Logistics, Tun Sadia Fro say, oh Ghana, and now we are Ghana ni. Na say, oh China, oh Turkey, opeso fan you free China, opeso fan you free Turkey, oh Ghana, how opesi a cranium free China, yen cranium free Turkey, omo, and it's you, omo na langas, omo be make sure say, what the beba, ne beba be draw some dream, a bounce a beba said ya okran on a. Yeah. Ebia na wo pese wo de no de fa eposoba wo pese onya aboche ne fa eposoba eyomo a ebia na wo pese fa wiem neighbor because bia na wo penentem eyomo a omo ne betimi ayama wo Ghana ha wo supplier no wo sheda nginin disa ebia wo hu ne oman ni so fesi omo so no omo nkonko tua ne oman ne camera no omo nsan famra eyomo a san so na quality checks die Nina Eromwa. And your man a take 40 to 45 days, sometimes even less. Na ababedru. Ebeba no so na onyo nina intact. Numbers no good screen so 053 882 3452. Samsung at 020-039-3438.
Honorable, do you think that as a country we have systems in place that is meant to protect the female child? Because it happens that all the disease that females, what should we do as a country to pay more attention to the well-being and upkeep of the female child?
Okay, so if you pay, and obviously it wasn't too much of interest to most journalists, but one of the first things I said was that anybody will ask questions as to why it's only the females that we lost. It should be of interest to everybody.
Exactly.
And I was saying that as females, our biological makeups are different. We are equal human beings, but we have different biological makeup. If, for instance, we are in a crowd and a female is menstruating and bleeding, already the energy level is low. The person is anemic. And so it will be easier for that person to suffocate than a man who is strong and maybe has had something to eat. A lot of, mood swings also come with what we go through as women. And so some of these processes, keeping a woman at a place for 6 hours plus, and then if the person is a heavy bleeder, I'm using this as a typical example because men don't menstruate. We can only support us. And so you will need a place where you can change, a place where you can feel comfortable, and then also, relax for the right frame of mind to go for whatever interview or recruitment, whatever it is that you needed to go through. So these are some of the things I was mentioning. Day one at the hospital that we needed to buy. I think most people were not interested in that. And I wasn't too surprised, but I'm repeating it on your media for people to know that men and women have different needs. We are equal human beings, but we have different needs. And the fact that our needs are different from what society knows and have come to accept doesn't make us, less human beings.
Exactly.
And so it's about time that as a state, as a people, as leaders, when we are planning, we are budgeting, we are, going through all the processes that lift people from one state to the other in terms of growth and, development, we think through it from a gender lens, a gender perspective with a gender lens, so that every sex, everybody within the society will benefit from our leadership. And so that is where we are. It is part of the resetting agenda. And so we'll get there.
Okay, so she says it's part of the resetting agenda. Indeed, it is. Honorable, let's go to a very recent issue. Yesterday, we saw a video that went viral of a man abusing his wife. And April this year, there was a similar situation where the man was arrested and then sentenced to a 1 week imprisonment. It was kind of a punishment by a gender-based violence court in April this year. People raised issues and then people raised concerns saying that it's not enough deterrent to deter others from repeating the same thing. And then just yesterday, we had a similar situation. What do you say to those who have called for people who do such things to be given harsh prison sentences?
I will condemn any act of violence or abuse, any form of violence or abuse, be it sexual, emotional, psychological, whatever form of abuse or violence. I condemn it and I don't make excuses for them, because every human being deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. That is very important. And so, whatever the reason would be for any perpetrator to jump on a victim or a prey, I don't condone it. And having said that, let me come to the substantive issue. In fact, when I saw the video was first forwarded to me, I couldn't finish watching once I established the basic things I needed to know to, push me into acting. The first thing was to locate the woman. the victim. And so I forwarded it to the CID to start investigations to locate the place where this was happening. And so the next thing was to find out how we could keep the victim safe. So we're working, behind the scenes. And some of these things, the ministry will be slow in coming up because you don't want to give too much lead to a perpetrator to know that they are coming after me, so I have to run. And so we are a bit, careful and cautious as to how we go about it. And usually we'll come out in the public to assure the public that those that you have reported is being attended to without giving much details. And then I always tell people to, especially the media, that in reporting these things, it's not just stories we are telling. You are talking about real experiences of people. And these are things that are likely to stigmatize them or follow them into the future. What you put in the cyberspace, what you put on the internet, stays there. And so, if, for instance, in the cases of children, they are growing up and they have this stigma following them. Because our society, how bit aware we are of some of these vices, we realize that people tend to shame or put up acts that bring shame to the victims. And so we end up victimizing the victims.
Even more.
Yes. We end up victimizing the victims. And then what happens in such cases is that it actually affects their growth and development. Their self-confidence is affected, and we shame them. We shame the victims when we are supposed to be shaming the perpetrators. In this case, you had people defending the perpetrator.
Exactly.
And the informant who supported for the rescue of the victim is rather being victimized.
By the family of the
By
perpetrator.
By the family. But one thing I can assure you is that there's enough evidence, even though investigations are going on, there's enough evidence to the crime being committed. It will take a miracle for any Ghanaian to be convinced that this man did not commit the act.
Crime.
And so we are following with the CID. I want to say a big thank you to them, that they don't feel frustrated with our constant calls for action and all that. I want to say a big thank you to them for living up to expectation.
So this time, once it's been established that a crime has been committed, we are going to see harsher sentences.
Yes, they will process the perpetrator to court, and then after the judgment, we want to see him behind bars.
Okay, so there you have it. Lots of you have asked a lot of questions. What is actually going to happen to this man in the viral video abusing the victim, as Honorable put it? Honorable, the budget was read last week. Do you find some parts of the allocations to your ministry interesting?
Yes, of course. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised that he's working to reduce vulnerability to the barest minimum. And so the issues of social protection, now we have a law backing social protection. And then the issues of school feeding, up to date, we have, as we speak, we are not in arrears. The issues of LEAP, by end of this month, we are on top. I mean, we are actually attaching a lot of financial commitment to the issues we promised to attend to. And the issues of social protection are not left out. Issues to do with reducing vulnerability are not left out. Issues of economic empowerment, including the Women's Development Bank, are not left out. And so I would say to a large extent that you realize that there's commitment by way of budgeting for the things that His Excellency has promised. He's also taking care of persons with disability who also come under this ministry.
Exactly.
And he's gone a long way and said the things he was going to do through the National Council for Persons with Disability. And so, by and large, we are happy. If we get more, we'll be happier.
Eba phones. Abusafo am na yefo. Christmas eba, minim say mo beto to boys na mo beto to phones na ma baby girls no. Sounds na baby girls nti say money ate, you tu chama mo. Em say mo so mo sort boys no. But you do baby a me mo hu secret. On dey me no. O phone na enye no. Eba phones aba. O ma nyoma aba phone. E dey na eba phones o kan. The eba phones o kan nyina ne say. O pese o ma phone. Phone no de be ma no. O ha mu nchichemu aduanan. Wo betua de ama no. Na bosu nyense di wanim no. Ono atena se aye nhyehyeye. Na bosu mi bia ba betua kakra unya garanta. De hia ne so ye adwuma no hu se wo ye adwuma wa ha. Wo da sori ha na wo kokko ye wa adwuma eno ha no. Enyoma esan so kan won se ebia na o screen protector. Oh nyoma ekeka ka phone so ho akade ni nyina no. Ade ayeye. O phone asay a fa brain ye be yes ade ama wo. Your numbers in the good screen so no. 2 numbers. Ubit my friend 059-116-9943. Ubit my friend 027-106-9756. Eba phones, phone papa fie. Bra, nene mama ye adwuma. Na surprise will be this coming Christmas.
Or your final words to the girl child who is watching you on the telly, on their phone somewhere, and then is aspiring to be like you. Your message to the girl child.
I want to assure every girl child that it's an exciting moment to be a girl child in Ghana. If you haven't seen or heard anything at all, at least you know that the effort every girl puts into being a leader or a better person in Ghana pays off. For the first time in the history of Ghana, by the grace of God and through the good leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have our first female vice president. That should be inspiring enough. She didn't get it on a silver platter. She's also an academic. If you look at her background as a professor, she's come a long way. None of these things came on a silver platter. I will encourage you. You face challenges. It toughens you. It makes you learn lessons to be a better person. It's like going through the furnace to be polished. I will encourage every girl child. You have the strength and ability within you to be a better person. Be better than myself. Be better than Her Excellency, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. And you have a president who has an eye out for women, women's empowerment, who has taken the issue of affirmative action to a better level, a level that we can sustain our gains and make inroads. And so go out there, go get every award and medal on your way. Don't leave anything to chance. It is good to explore, but there's a lot ahead of you in the future. Grow up, take education serious. It is the key that unlocks every closed door. It is the key that eradicates poverty. And so go out there, get the best, and we'll be proud of you, even as you get proud of yourself. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a very short but insightful conversation with the very affable, the Honorable Agnes Na Momo Latte, and then she's a doctor as well. So, do you like being called doc?
I usually don't even introduce myself as such. I define myself by so many things who I am actually. I am the tool for myself. So, yes, these are add-ons that, it keeps you going. But aside that, I'm okay. It's doctor, it's Mrs. If you observe me, I hardly address myself by those titles.
Exactly. So on a lighter note, Honorable, in 2020, John Dramani Mahama would have been contestant. Should we be looking out for you?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Every politician aspires to go higher, but I don't think it is part of my aspirations now. No, not 2028. No, I don't know. Maybe unless by a miracle. But I don't know. Every politician, they say never say never, so I'm being cautious. But the truth is that no.
So
You're making me repeat it.
I don't want to say a big no on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been logged on to GhPage TV, the biggest TikTok space in the country. My name is Gypsum, and I sat with the Honorable Agnes Na Mogo Latte. Thank you for watching. Keep it locked. I'm out.
Etufoi mumra metu ntade ne no mapapa wa ha ye dia doma to so bill ba ko mienu miensa ne yekoyanim aha ye Desmark Enterprise ye to brand your friend Pretty Little Things PLT a free UK no mamunu hwan enkensi you se chiki kaya now ina de kel eno mani na etwaguro no o hwewei na ye rezo ye no mani afewo enti nya dia wo koton aboka mpaboa bags clutches nkoda ni penifo for every occasion ye Berlin 50, 25, 12 kilograms. Sit you with sick abasmo. And the school for no more online. A don't for boutique for Obia with two no maton, but told ye. Yet on second hand, false billing so. Your brand, your share son that a home. Desmark UK. Ye name more fenty man friend in Yendia. Your branches are hold across Ghana. Cantamanto, Jowulu, Ashtown, Sunyane, Yen warehouse no Kumasi, then Chamoso. Yeben AQ3 Event and Game Center. Numbers in the Busono. Anafre 0242 932820 and 0504 729560.